Since Rachel used to be on America's Next Top Model, I'm going to use the famous Tyra Banks line and say, "We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you." Ah, Rachel, what? We need to talk about this. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today I am super excited to be talking about this insanely juicy episode of Below Deck, Season 8, Episode 7, Runaway Chef. You guys, so much stuff happened this episode. I'm kind of dying over it, so let's talk about it. Let's get into it. I can't wait to hear your thoughts, so here we go. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and say if you're enjoying this show, please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Real Housewives Recaps, or check the comments below and I'll put a link. And for $1 a week, you can support my show and get 4 bonus episodes per month. I'm covering Scary Island, like the greatest season of Real Housewives of New York. So check it out. Thanks so much. Okay, so clearly this was a rough episode for Captain Lee. He had a lot of crap from beginning to end of this episode. So if you remember, it picks up, Lee called Shane into the bridge. Lee and Eddie are there, and Captain is pissed. And he explains to Shane the learning curve is really steep, and you don't have time to catch up. Eddie brings up his sleeping in, his taking naps, missing the alarm clock, a lot having to do with sleeping infractions. And Captain says, unfortunately, the time has come for us to part company. You aren't getting it done. So a couple of us were talking about before, you think he'll get fired? Do you think not? And I don't know why I didn't think this was going to happen. Not because I think Shane is great. Captain had a weird attitude about it this time, and he didn't seem super gung-ho about firing anybody. But, yeah, he did. He fired him. So, poor guy. And then we see this flash to 36 hours later. And we get this insane teaser, whatever, of Rachel appearing to tell the captain to go F himself. My notes literally say, holy shit. Of course, that's not exactly what happens, but it's not that far off. So we will get into that for sure. So we rewind back in time where we were, and Eddie is helping Shane get off the boat. They are trying to get Shane's surfboard off the boat. Didn't know he brought a surfboard with him. And Jessica realizes what's happening and kind of talks to Francesca about it. And okay, we will definitely be talking about Jessica and her screw-ups, but I'm really struggling with Francesca. She sucks. And luckily, I got a lot of feedback from you guys saying you think she sucks. Well, Francesca was using this to say, he's not pulling his weight. I'm not going to do an Australian accent because I love my friends that comment on my channel here. So I'm not going to offend you guys with my poor Australian accent. But she's basically uses this against Jessica. Well, he's not pulling his weight, and dropping hints without actually saying what's up. Okay, so everybody's saying goodbye except for Rachel. Rachel doesn't want to say goodbye. So they cover for her, say she's having a shower. This is the start of Rachel losing her mind. He apparently is getting picked up by his girlfriend and heading to the nearest beach. Okay. It sucks that somebody got fired, but I get it with Shane. They can't have somebody that's not fully in it and just that out of it, on board. Helping with safety on this boat, because seriously, wow. Okay. So, Francesca paged Elizabeth. Francesca's asking her to do some stuff, and Elizabeth's kind of giving attitude, saying, I've been doing the other stuff you've asked me to do. Meanwhile, it's the deck team outside. Eddie's in a funk. He feels like his team is failing miserably over and over again. Rachel is getting increasingly upset and bringing up this boyfriend Vincenzo a lot more. She said 90% of her stress is missing her boyfriend. They've been together for a year, and it's really hard to be away from him. Hello, Rachel. I loved Rachel until this episode. She really bugged me. This really bugged me because don't you know what you're signing up for? How many people would just give anything to be on this show and to have this opportunity for you to piss it away like that for how many weeks of work? 6 weeks? 8 weeks? I don't know what it is. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Okay, so there's a stew meeting. Francesca wants to talk about the last charter. She compliments Aisling in the laundry room with a smile on her face. Says nothing about Elizabeth. And this is Francesca's poor-ass communication leadership. Her thinking is, I'm not going to address it. I'm just not going to acknowledge. And I just don't with Francesca. Okay, so she keeps Elizabeth behind, and they talk about the miscommunication, about the charter guests, and I don't know why I have a soft spot for Elizabeth. I really don't, because she does keep screwing up, and she is awful, and she really screws up later. But I at least feel like with her that I didn't feel with Shane, that she's trying. I mean, I don't know. I get both sides of the argument. I know, who cares if she's trying, but she is trying. She seems to mostly have a good attitude. I don't like when she backtalks Francesca about the work, but she's trying. We see it later, but okay. Poor Izzy is so upset. She's been crying because she feels like she's working so hard and trying so hard. And after that poor-ass pep talk from Eddie earlier, she just feels awful. We find out her parents split at 17, and she's been broken and depressed, and she's anxious all the time. And my heart breaks for her because I love Izzy. Everybody's going out. Rachel says her goal for this evening is to get wasted. So we see them all at dinner. We see Elizabeth and James kind of sitting next to each other, kind of flirting. We see Rachel flirting with a cocktail. This is one of the few times we've seen them go out. It's been rare this season, which is weird because usually that's a big focal point. Even this episode, yeah, they go out to dinner, but they immediately go back to the boat after. Usually they go dancing or whatever, but they just can't this one. So, let's see here. James and Elizabeth are kind of flirty. They're talking about getting physical versus spiritual, and Francesca's asking Rachel if she's okay. Rachel breaks this glass. She's had a few too many. She's crying. She's saying he makes her feel calm and collected to my boyfriend. We find out it's 12:30. They have to get up at 8:30, to which I say, why? I know they have to turn the boat over, but the guests aren't coming for another day, right? So I'm kind of surprised they didn't go out and stay out later, but whatever, they have a lot of work to do. Elizabeth is venting about Francesca to Eddie. Rachel is saying, this was in the van. Rachel is saying, shut the F up. You want to be a yachty, shut the F up. You suck it up. And then she said a whole bunch of cuss words. Okay. So I find that interesting because Rachel's telling everybody else to suck it up. And I didn't think Elizabeth was being that mean. She's just venting a little bit to her coworker. She needs to blow off steam. She doesn't really have friends there. She's talking to Eddie. Eddie seems to care. And she's talking to him. And Rachel had that reaction. And I say to you later, Rachel, suck it up. Okay, so they get back on the boat. James has to work out. What's up with that? He revealed earlier that he had weight issues as a kid, and he was made fun of about it. So I assume it all has to do with that. I just can't imagine after drinking and knowing that I have to be up early in the morning that I want to go work out. Poor Rachel is having, I'm saying poor Rachel, but she really pissed me off. Rachel is having a full-on meltdown. Eddie's there. He's actually being sweet with her. He's telling her, listen, if you need anything, I'm here. She's saying it calms me to have you near me. He's like, okay, I'll be near you then. We see Elizabeth and James hanging out, and he's saying he likes her and she's pretty. And they hug, they say goodnight. Oh yeah, see this scene right here? That was a teaser. They did that at the end of last episode to make it look like they were going in the same bedroom together. They didn't. They just kind of flirted and that was it. Okay, so it's the next morning and everybody's coming out of their room. James comes out and Aisling asks if he and Elizabeth had a smoochy smooch, which I love, smoochy smooch. Francesca is going over the list for the next guests and they're just it's time to get the rears in gear and clean this boat up to get ready for the next guests. So, this is where stuff gets crazy. Okay, Elizabeth is trying to bleach a shirt, and she's asking about how to use this bleach. Well, Francesca tells her cold water, and you need to go outside because it will stink. And this is where Elizabeth sucks, because she was so scatterbrained, it's like she couldn't fully process what Francesca was saying. So she just kind of mixed it in and left it in the laundry room. Apparently, it was mixed in with some sort of soap. And I don't know. My husband's a chemist. He was trying to explain that if it had like peroxide in it or something, that's mustard gas. And apparently that's kind of what that engineer was saying too. But anyway, so she left this bowl in the laundry room, and I don't know why she left it in there. So stupid. Okay, Fran and Aisling are realizing that they're dizzy, and while they're saying, hey, something's not right, the camera keeps zooming in to this bleach mixture. So while all that craziness is going on, the captain is watching the deck crew out the window, and Lee is pissed. He's saying James is washing the stuff that Izzy just washed 5 minutes ago. Are you effing kidding me? So the captain goes out and asks Izzy if she just washed that, and she says yes, and James is completely surprised, and Eddie's stressing out, and it feels like he looks like an a-hole. To which I say, this could be solved pretty easily, Eddie. Just say, hey, what part are you doing? What part are you doing? Okay, great. That way everybody knows, everybody's on the same page. There you go. The engineer comes downstairs to see what happened, and he immediately says he smells something volatile. Uh-oh. They say they aren't using chemicals, and he's surprised to hear that. He says he smells something. He sends everybody out. So we see him looking around and sniffing everything. And meanwhile, Captain is pissed. He's still watching James, and he pages Eddie. He says, how many times is he going to wash that again? To which I say, come on, Captain. I know it's not the captain's fault, but it's just hard to see him just sit there and critique when there's already a man down on the deck. That was my thought on that. But okay, so the interior is outside having lunch because it can't be near the chemicals, and he's venting the area. So Rachel, meanwhile, is in the full-on panic attack. She's calling Vincenzo, asking if he can fly there, and he asks if she's serious, and he seems really sweet because he says, okay, I'll try. And he tells her about the coronavirus and talking about isolating the city, and Rachel's crying, and Elizabeth comes in and gives her a hug, and she's, she said she's there for her, and it was a sweet moment. So the engineer then tells the captain about the bleach situation, and it was foaming up and causing the fumes, blah, blah, blah. We see James call his mom. They're best friends. They have the same personality, and she says, you do your job and come home. Okay, then we see the engineer meeting with Francesca, and he's explaining about the mustard gas, basically a bleach mixed with soap and confined spaces, and Fran says this is a massive F-up, and it's not making her department look good. It's putting the crew in danger. I mean, I think she's just looking for a reason to get rid of Elizabeth, even though I know Elizabeth totally cocked this up. She should have taken it outside. I get it. I don't know why I am Team Elizabeth, but I am. I liked her even better this episode, even though she totally screwed up. But I just like that she went to Captain Lee, and she really tried. She's trying to stay on this boat. She's trying to work. Okay. Meanwhile, Fran... Oh, okay, so this was crazy. This is, I think, one of the reasons Francesca really pissed me off. She's telling Rachel all about what happened, about the bleach and the mustard gas, and Rachel's like, let's fold and let's go again, meaning let's get rid of her, let's find somebody else. And she's encouraging Francesca. Francesca doesn't need a reason to get rid of Elizabeth, but she kind of gives her the go-ahead, like, go talk to Captain. So she goes to talk to Captain and says, the bleach today was the last straw. And she had told her to take her outside, and she didn't. Well, the captain is just pissed. Not at Elizabeth, just the whole situation. Because everything today has gone wrong. So he's saying, listen, I can't get someone before the next charter tomorrow. And we can't just let her go. So let's make it work and we'll sit down after the next charter. And he says, and if nothing's changed, we'll do what needs to be done. Well, Fran is super pissed because she thinks she's going to have to do more this next charter. And I think just because Elizabeth is staying. Well, Elizabeth, rightly so, is very upset about the whole situation. So she goes to talk to Rachel. Rachel tells her to go to talk to Captain Lee, which is not bad advice, but Francesca overhears it and is pissed. Everybody's pissed this episode. And Elizabeth says, hey, Francesca, can I talk to you? And Francesca says no and walks off. Again, shitty leadership. Francesca to camera says, what the hell? Elizabeth is getting everyone involved in this situation? Okay. Didn't you get everybody involved in this situation, Francesca? You're the one that ran to Rachel right off the bat. She also says she's disappointed in Rachel because Rachel was encouraging her to go to Captain and to overstep Fran. I didn't think that that's what Rachel was doing. I think Rachel was just kind of like, I don't know, go talk to Captain. I don't think it's to overstep. I understand the hierarchy, but I'm saying I don't think it was malicious to overstep Francesca. I don't know. Elizabeth goes to talk to the captain and asks what's happening. She's obviously upset. She's worried about her future. And this is why I liked Elizabeth, is because she's trying and she cares. It's not always the case with people that cock up this much. James asks about putting the laundry down. And this is another reason I didn't like Francesca. She gets mad about his question. He just asked her a question. Even if it's a stupid question, she's being a real bitch about it. And she's getting mad and keeps mumbling about stupid questions. Meanwhile, Rachel finds Francesca and tries to say, I'm sorry. And Fran says, I heard what you were saying. You don't have my back. She doesn't have my back. I don't trust either of you. So everybody's just over it. And then, you guys, it is time for the crew meeting, or for the preference sheet meeting in the crew mess. It's going to be Fran and Captain and Eddie and Rachel. And Eddie asks Francesca if she's stressed because he's picking up on stress. Well, no shit, everybody on the boat is stressed right now. So it's a very weird energy going into this meeting. So they all sit down, right? And they have a weird reaction when they sit down. They're all like, woohoo! But it was weird, right? Like, it just started off weird. I was like, what am I missing? Is this guy famous? What are we doing here? So his name's Brian. I'm not even going to try to say his last name. He's from Hillsborough, North Carolina. And he expects nothing but the best. Okay. Don't they all? Apparently he's full of super high maintenance requests. And exact requests, like what kind of floats he wants to use and every food ever, and everyone is sighing about this, the size of these lists and what all they're requesting and stuff. But I'm sorry, Rachel was just totally out of line here. You do pay a shitload for these cruises, and there's a preference sheet meeting. There's a preference sheet for a reason. They're trying to find out what you want. Yes, I agree. This guest was unreasonable in the amount of things he was asking for. And the way that he was demanding every food ever. It is ridiculous. But Rachel had such a piss-poor attitude. And that sucks because she was my favorite one. She had a piss-poor attitude about the whole thing. She keeps saying, that's disgusting. That's despicable. She said, you pay me $16,000 a month to be your private chef in Monaco? Then we'll talk. Till then, I don't play that game, so no. I'd like a flight home. And it's shocking, right? Like, she's just, I mean, obviously she's been in such a bad headspace. She's looking for a reason to go. This was her reason. She's over it. And she says, Okay, so the captain's shocked. She's saying, enjoy it. I'll start packing right now. And the captain's like, why? He's actually speechless for once. Rachel says, I'm sorry, but the ostentatious BS and to unpack that on one chef, suck my D. And Captain says, well, why don't we talk to them and see if they're as ostentatious as they appear to be on paper? Totally reasonable. I love that the captain said that. I actually liked Captain Lee better after saying that because that's how I felt. Listen, maybe these people are trying to throw their D around on paper. Fine. That doesn't mean that's exactly how it has to be. Now, I am pro-guest in general because they are paying. It's their vacation. This is your job. This is what you have to do. But I do understand that they were being unreasonable. So maybe just do the best you can. And as long as you're doing that, then F them. I mean, that's all. I don't know what to say. But Rachel is taking it so personally and saying, F yourself. And Eddie is shocked. And Captain said, I'd rather not do that, which was really funny. Rachel says, I love you. I respect you guys, but that's BS. And I'll start packing right now. I'm dead serious. And I think the captain was just over her behaving like a child and says, well, you do what you got to do and I'll do what I got to do. It is what it is. And Rachel says, it is what it is. Captain says, this is the first for me. I've never had a chef walk off the day before a pickup. Yes, I am pissed. And F, my day just got shitty. Rachel is saying, I don't play that game. F you, shove that up your A. I make more money sitting at home, dude. That's what she said. That's such a shitty thing to say. Rachel, suck it up. You signed up for this. It's only a couple weeks. Make the money and get out. Like, talk crap about them with the other stews or whatever. There's just no need for all this. This got ridiculous. To camera, Rachel's trying to justify saying, if I can't walk away, then I'll explode. Well, then you have an anger management issue. Rachel to Francesca says, I can't even say it. She kept saying over and over, eat my blank. Shove that up your blank. Okay, so Captain is paging Rachel, and Rachel ends up going up to talk to him again. And again, I thought Captain was being super reasonable, especially all the crap he's been through that day. He's the one that should be exploding, and he's not. And he says, I'm not looking forward to these guys at all. But just because they ask for something doesn't mean they're going to get it. That being said, would you consider doing the lunch and dinner on day one? Just so he can have time to bring in a real replacement. She literally says, nope, I'll bolt now. And Captain said, there's nothing I can do. And she says, I'm putting you in a rock and a hard place. I see that. I respect you. No, you don't. That's not respect. The alarm starts going off right in the middle of all this crap. And I'm pretty sure Lee is just going to start punching the dashboard. Rachel is saying, I would love to work with you or under you as my captain. And Captain says, like, we don't have enough, talking about the alarm. And Rachel asks if she can go pack. Lee to camera says, I got less than 24 hours to find a chef. We're screwed 6 ways to Sunday. Okay, so Izzy is talking to Eddie, and they talk about provisions for the next charter, and he says it's so bad that Rachel quit. We see Rachel, and she's saying things like, you can eat my A, and she's flipping off the camera. She's just being nasty. We know chefs can be temperamental. We know this. We've seen it all. Think about Ben. Think about all the temper tantrums he'd had in the kitchen, but he still managed to get the food out. So I actually hope they get Ben. I don't know who they're going to get. I don't care. I'm just saying, like, I keep thinking, oh, maybe they'll get Ben. But Rachel just, she did not have to go out like this. This episode did not have to go like this. I have strong opinions on this because I really liked Rachel. She was one of my all-time favorite chefs, and her food looked amazing, but she went out on such a piss-poor note. It just sucks. Okay, so the captain says, in 25 years, I've never had to tell a charter guest that a charter is canceled, but I've got a chief stew and a second stew not getting along. I'm already down a deckhand, and now my chef splits. I don't know what I'm going to do. And we see Rachel drive off in her van, and It says to be continued. There's no scenes for next week. It just goes straight into to be continued sign. Oh, you guys. Oh, such a good episode. I just can't believe it went down like this. I'm so bummed out because we were all rooting for Rachel, and what a shitty thing to do over some douche waving his D around on a piece of paper. That's so stupid. Just cook him food and get him out. Like, he's only there for, what, 3 days? Like, whatever. I was thinking, too, if it was that bad and she was, that upset, just pick up a bunch of food from land. Serve it. I don't know. Like, something. It just didn't have to go down like this. Take him out for lunch, It just didn't have to go down like this. So, anyway. Let me know your thoughts below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I really want to know your thoughts on the episode, so leave me comments. Check out my Patreon. It's a great way to support the show. I really appreciate all you guys who've signed up lately and everybody that's signed up in general. I appreciate that so much, and I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Not sure how next week's going to go. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to see. I don't know what episodes are on with Christmas coming and what's not, but we'll throw some episodes up there. Maybe out a couple days. We'll see. But I hope you guys have the best week. And, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you before then. But thank you guys for everything. I look forward to Salt Lake on Thursday. Can't wait for that. And take care of yourselves. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.